Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream of the Engadget podcast recording. I'm Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe. Joining me today are Senior Editor Devendra Hardwar.
Hello. How's it going?
And our podcast producer, Ben Elman. Step right up.
Yeah, getting blinded by the sun. I love sitting in front of a window usually, but it's terrible for these recordings.
I hope you use a little bit of sunscreen, Ben, because
Yeah.
True.
even that amount of sun could at least cause some frecklation.
Yeah, you don't want to stand in front or sit in front of it all day.
Okay, but
Yeah,
the question,
definitely not all day.
The question is, doesn't glass, are there any materials scientists in the chat really early right now? I thought glass blocks a lot of UV rays.
Depends on your glass.
A lot of dermatologists also say that as long as you can see by sunlight or read by sunlight, you might need to have sunscreen on anyway. Certain level of SPF should be good for you.
It's okay. We've been asking Ben to invest in curtain technology for years. So
that's true.
We'll get there. Engadget curtain
at least
reviews.
a year.
Hey, speaking of the live chat, Jiming Chung and Luther Lake, Albert,
Hello.
Aiden are all there. Albert's a friend of ours. Jiming Chung says, "Good morning, 早晨," which actually in Chinese, those words are 早晨, but because it's probably Cantonese, that's probably 早晨, which is good morning. And Jonathan Anderson is here too. Hi, hi, hi.
Hey, hello.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about, or all about, Sundance 2022, the film festival, and what we saw, what we thought, and then also cover some news. Samsung a little bit, and then Neil Young a little bit, and then Reddit again a little bit.
I'm gonna have to explain who Neil Young is to Sherlyn, so that's gonna be a fun conversation.
I think I know who he is.
Who is this old guy?
Come on, I know Neil Young. I just couldn't tell you any of the songs. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not Marvin Gaye. That much I know.
Oh my god. Yeah. He's definitely not Marvin Gaye. Yeah.
So if you are new here, what you're watching right now is kind of a behind the scenes of the recording of the audio version of the Engadget podcast, which goes out tomorrow morning-ish on channels like Spotify, iTunes, that sort of stuff. So we will be recording segments where we can't really take a break and talk directly to you, the audience, but just hang in there. We will be taking segment breaks to chat with you directly, answer your questions about the topics we discuss, and also you'll probably watch us trip, make mistakes, and we'll have to go back and do them again. So Jonathan Anderson
says,
the
version without the mistakes, he can listen to the audio version. Just if you watched this and you appreciated it, just download the audio version also. It helps us with the important numbers that we report to the corporate overlords.
I don't know if you guys do this, but sometimes when I listen to my favorite podcast and like it's one of those like fun chatty ones and I'm like, oh my god, that was such a funny moment, I go back and re-listen. Like do people do that?
Yeah, especially if I miss a little bit of it, I'm distracted and doing something else.
I have like favorite podcast episodes from like Kind of Funny where I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so funny how they did that, and I just go and re-listen sometimes.
One of my favorite things about that Pocket Casts app, Pocket Casts is the only thing that I use to listen to podcasts, is the fact that it has a 10-second skip back function. I find that really, really helpful because usually I want to skip back in smaller increments. The skip forward one is 30 seconds, which is good for skipping ads. Not that you should skip ads, but it's decent for skipping ads.
Listen, it's a victimless crime if you skip ads, but maybe occasionally you use those coupon codes or whatever. I also, if you're listening on iPhone, and maybe Android does this too, you could just say, hey Siri, like go back 30 seconds or something. It just does it.
I believe so with Google Assistant you can, but on certain apps. Speaking of our podcast, we should get started on the official recording soon, but before that, quick shout out to Declan Flynn, who says life is better with mistakes. Also, all our regulars are here today. Not all of them, but like all the names I'm seeing here are like names we're familiar with. Jonathan Anderson also says they've been enjoying Ozark on Netflix. I'm sure we'll have thoughts later on. All right. And shout out to
AFC Richmond.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
To AFC Richmond.
Yo, this sweater is so comfy. Anyhow,
that's cool. Is it
It's
official
comfy and
swag, or did
fashionable.
you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
find
yeah.
that from some random designer?
No, I bought it from the official swag store when they opened their merch store. I was like,
Wow.
I'm first in there.
That's amazing. That's
I
amazing.
only wish they made crop top versions of this. Okay, I'm ready
You
to
could make
go.
your own crop tops.
That's true. You just need scissors.
Okay, yeah. So let's get after it. We got a lot of movies to talk
We
about.
got movies. We've got VR stuff. We've got
Yeah.
and news.
Yeah. All right. I think we're just Ben. Let us know.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. All right, and in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe.
I'm Senior Editor Devendra Hardwar.
And this week, we're going to talk all about Sundance 2022, the film festival, what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like, what it means for technology and entertainment, lots of stuff. Devendra, you did an interview with director Joe Hunting of one of the works, and that's coming up at the end of this episode, right?
Yeah, the director of We Met in Virtual Reality, so stay tuned for that chat too. It's really good.
Of course, we're going to go over some other major news or noteworthy news in tech this episode as well. Now, if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a like on your podcast catcher of choice. Also, subscribe and leave us a review, please, on iTunes, because that'll really help people discover us. And if you have the time, usually on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, thereabouts, we live stream the recording of this podcast on the Engadget YouTube channel. You can talk to us live, have your questions answered. It's a fun time. So come join us if you can.
Okay, one more thing before we get into Sundance 2022. Sherlyn, if you could just say something about Samsung, because
Okay.
I don't think you said anything about Samsung, and that could like keep people through the Sundance.
So
thing.
I did a bit where I said like major news. So I'm just gonna. You want me to just retake that line? I'll be
just retake that line, because I'll just like drop it into the correct place.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to remember if I had a clean line, but hopefully this is We're also going to go over some noteworthy news in tech, including Samsung setting the date already for Unpacked 2022. So there's also tech stuff this episode.
Okay, good. I'll drop that in.
Fab. Okie dokes. Ready to dive into Sundance, y'all?
All good.
All right. So over the last 2 weeks, Devendra and I, week and a half, right? Devendra and I have been checking out, Sundance 2022. This is a film festival that typically takes place in person right after CES in Utah. I've never been in person, Devendra.
Park City. Yeah.
Okay. But I think for about the last 2 years, it's been, virtual, and there has been great portals set up to facilitate all of this. And one of the big components of this, again, in recent years, is the New Frontier section, where they show off their VR, mixed reality, AR projects. What did you think of it this year, Devendra? Because I feel like you definitely have thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we went through as many projects as we could, and this is all a new thing for them. So last year was the first time they were like, "Hey, we're going to build a virtual platform, for people to go in with VR headsets, walk around, see exhibitions, and also like have like a little chat platform to talk with people too." So they basically repeated that. Some things are different because they're actually showing live screenings in the virtual cinema now, so there are things happening, and you could sit next to other people and watch something. But in terms of like the New Frontiers exhibits, like they were fine. I didn't find anything particularly like super interesting. And just like last year, there's also like some that you can only see on desktop VR. So you need a powerful gaming rig, and you need to plug in if you have a Quest 2, you got to plug it into your computer, or you need like a full-fledged PC VR headset and go through a whole download process and stuff for that. So the experience of getting to some of these VR things isn't great. There are some I still can't access, and I've been like pinging developers and say like, "Hey, we would love to talk about this on Engadget." And I get nothing. So, user experience isn't great. But among the things I saw for Quest 2, there was one, I forget the name of it. We're gonna have to look this up, but it is the one produced by the UN, which was basically like you stepping through. It's like you take on the role of a prime minister of a country
Yes.
somewhere. Your country is going through turmoil, and you're stepping up for a to speak at the UN, and then your stream gets hacked, and then you're surrounded by videos feeds of kids,
Yeah.
most like teenagers and young people, saying like, hey, you really should be talking about the climate crisis and other things that are really affecting us in the next generation.
Yeah.
I found that to be a really powerful thing to sit through, because it does like make you sit through like, hey, there's a teleprompter here, try to read the teleprompter, try to stay on point while you're being hacked, and while these kids are like saying, hey, climate crisis is a bigger deal than whatever you're trying to say, to appease the UN or the UN crowd or something. So I found that to be really cool. Just a good thing to sit through.
Is this a piece called The State of Global Peace?
Yes, The State of Global Peace, yeah.
Yeah, no, it seems very interesting. Like you said, like a lot of the VR projects, I have a Quest 2 just for specifically viewing some of these things, and I couldn't view all of them either, which was very disappointing. Did you watch any movies at all? Just to circle back to the New Frontier spaceship a little bit. They call it the spaceship, by the way. Did you ever like watch a movie in the faux theater?
Oh yeah. Although that's not New Frontier, right? So they have different modes. If you go look this up, like we've written about last year, I wrote up like what this whole setup is. This year we covered a bit. They were actually planning to do like in person and VR, like and remote stuff this year. Because of Omicron, they kind of announced at the last minute it's going to be remote only. But yeah, the virtual theater is just like this. It's a big theater you walk into, and there's a screen, there's seats. Like
your avatar, your
avatar gets to walk up. It is funny because there was kind of a bug with it. I think you were watching one of the things in the virtual theater, Sherlyn, and I was like walking around. I could see you sitting in the seat, but there wasn't anything playing on the screen when I had my VR headset on, because I think you were watching. You were also in that space, but using your web browser. You were watching Cosmogony, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So people from different devices could come to these single spaces. For some reason, the video wasn't playing when I was in VR.
Maybe you missed the start time or something. I don't know.
Like when I logged in with a web browser, I could see it, but it just wasn't working in VR. So, but the weird thing is, I was walking around the room. I saw a blank thing on the screen. I saw people sitting down. I was just walking around. I think I may have even like walked up to the stage area and over the stage area at some point. And then I log in on the browser, and people are like, hey, please keep it down in front, because you could be getting in the way of people. That was just kind of funny, like this weird distance of like the reality of what we were sitting through.
It was very cute.
It was really different. It was cute. It was really cute.
It was like a SimCity theater situation to me, where like if you get too close to someone, you start being asked if you want to join their chat circle or something, where like automatically you can, like, your microphone comes on and you can just chat like you're next to someone. Obviously, I said no to every single notification.
It is funny how like these little VR interactions are just like, oh, you're in a real space. You don't want to be too close to somebody's avatar. You don't want to just sit there and stare at somebody's avatar. Like all of a sudden you have to have like real in-person etiquette, as you're dealing with
social distance.
Social distance, but also like, you just don't want to feel awkward, right? You don't want to sit there and be staring at somebody and, somebody you actually want to talk to. You kind of want to do the like things you would do in real life. So that's always kind of funny. I haven't done like much VR socialization this year, but last year I did do like some chats with like my film critic friends and stuff, and that was fun. It's like a cool thing to have. But yeah, I just wasn't as impressed overall with like the VR stuff I could see this year. The movies though are much better.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned cosmology a little bit just now. I'm gonna quickly shout out some of the. I mean, look, Devendra and I, like, I mean, I can't speak for you, but I'm pretty sure you did this. I went through like every single project, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. This, that, and then like I couldn't see more than half of them. Like I think only check out just about half. And among them was cosmology, which was held in this screening area in virtual reality. But it's funny because you can also click full screen and then just view it as if it were a movie without being like, in the so-called theater, which is how I preferred it anyway. Cosmology is an interesting thing that was basically, to me, an interpretation of space in the metaverse, as much as I hate that word. It's like a dance performance, but there are 3 dancers in a square space in a location somewhere. I don't really know where they were, in a studio.
It was like somewhere in Europe that was being live streamed, like their motion capture
Geneva
stuff.
I think is where they said. And then so there's a grid on the ground. You can tell that they know their marks very well. It's just 3 motion capped dancers. And at first I was like, this, when they first started dancing, and the painters silhouettes, the dancers silhouettes are painted into like different landscapes, different environments, and they play around with the idea of like where their position is in that environment. They're jumping off of so-called cliffs or pretending to jump off of cliffs, right? So at first I was like, this is kind of hokey. But what happened was the designer and the artists on this project were able to kind of replicate the dancers. So there was not just 3 dancers anymore. The 3 of them were copy pasted throughout the scenes, and then also in different scale and different sizes. So at some point
they got big.
They got real
big. Yeah.
And also had very weird skins on, by the way. And then they were interacting with the smaller versions of themselves. So it was pretty wild and mind-blowing. And at some point they were like floating in space, and like golden showers were like falling off of them.
Golden showers, Let's different kinds. You don't want that in VR, although I'm sure that exists.
Yeah, probably. There's a rule for that. But the main takeaway for me, like as I watched it, I got very fascinated for. And I don't know that the piece was deliberately or explicitly saying this, but I think as we think about our roles and our places in this so-called metaverse again, how you can play with the notion of your size, your identity, your scale, your space, the amount of space you take up, or are the laws of physics even the same? What are we gonna do? Like, I started thinking of these questions, right? So
when there is a movie called We Met in Virtual Reality that we'll be interviewing the director with later.
Oh yeah,
I'll talk about that in a bit, but I think that really gets across the idea that, hey, this metaverse, you can do anything, you could be anyone. I just wish some of these experiences actually showed that,
yeah, like what are the boundaries, what are the rules? And then finally, before we move on to the films, one other piece I wanted to shout out was 7 Grams. It's an AR, like a half AR-ish project that you can download as an app on your phone. And it takes you through the story of what materials and minerals are actually being used in your iPhone or Android phone. And then it kind of shows you afterwards like how the mining process can be very exploitative and involve illegal gang types of groups, and ultimately ask you if you want to pledge to ask big tech companies to use clean supply chains or be transparent at least about their supply chains, especially when it comes to the mining of gold and other mineral materials for phones, which we use a lot of. There's a huge demand for them.
Rare earth minerals are a big deal. They're important, and there's a cost to that. So that seems like a cool project.
This is why I like Sundance, by the way, is because it just highlights, it's all these, it's documentaries and documentarians and filmmakers telling us what I should be paying attention to sometimes, like unearthing these like topics I would never otherwise have the time to dig deeper into. But anyway, films about tech.
That's what Sundance is really about, is movies. Like they're just really starting to get into VR stuff. But films is the big thing for them, I'd say.
We didn't really quite agree on one of the films, Devendra.
Oh yeah, I think one of the best films of the festival, and I'll just get into this here because I think Sherlyn is dead wrong.
Wow.
The movie is called After Yang, and it's the next film by the director Kogonada. He is a really fascinating director. He did this little like indie called Columbus, which was co-starred John Cho and Haley Lou Richardson. So I'll watch anything with John Cho, and it was just like a really compelling look at a guy coming back to, maybe, I don't know if it was his hometown, but coming to a town, appreciating his architecture, dealing with the loss of his father. This movie also deals with the loss of something. It starts with a family. I think one of the like most fun and unique opening sequences we've ever seen. Like it just kind of starts out of nowhere to be this like synchronized dance sequence, live streamed. It's like a competition with all the families. It's almost like a little Black Mirror-ish. Like all the families are trying to do this thing together, but synchronized dancing, including Colin Farrell, who stars in this movie, and Jodie Turner-Smith, and the young girl who plays who's their daughter, but also Yang, who is a humanoid android, like a fully it's a artificial person, but he looks human, he's indistinguishable, and he kind of malfunctions after that. And the entire movie is Colin Farrell trying to fix him because his daughter loves him, and his daughter Mika has a much closer relationship with Yang, because Yang is a cultural robot, so he is meant to, like, he is a Chinese robot. He's meant to give his daughter Chinese language lessons, Chinese cultural lessons, and this is a very mixed race family too. So that idea to me was really compelling and interesting. The idea of family, and like there are so many little things. This movie is ultimately about a guy and a family grieving the loss of another family member. It just so happens that family member is a robot, and I found that really moving and compelling. But just the world Kogonada builds here, it's sort of like a near future that has like a lot of Japanese influences, but very chill things. Like things are very zen and meditative. Everybody's wearing like flowing futuristic robes. Their home, I love the architecture and the houses in this movie. Colin Farrell's home is like, it's a flat, like ranch style postmodern building where there's a lot of glass, but also the entire thing looks like it was furnished and designed by Muji. Just like that really nice integration of like organic and like modern stuff, like a lot of like clean wood, like clean surfaces and things like that. I just love the look of it. This movie gives us self-driving cars that are just these like beautiful pods with a garden in the back, like that real great mixture that you get from, I don't know, like a lot of like Japanese aesthetic, the mixture of the new and the old and natural stuff. There's like wood grain seats and the plants in that self-driving car. So I just found that all really compelling. I think Colin Farrell is really, really good in this. And as a vision of the future and something that's talking about the humanity of androids and, of artificial beings, I found that really compelling. So I'm in the middle of a piece on this right now. I loved it, but it's kind of like, it's a slow burn. It's not like a really fast-paced movie. It's a moody film. But I love that mood. I love like existing in it. What did you think, Sherlyn?
Yeah, no, so that's where you point out that it's a slow burn, and I think this is like a subjective thing. It all boils down to personal preference thing, right? For me, I am not the biggest fan of like incredibly slow burns where like it takes me like I need to invest before I even see any real reason to be invested. I think I enjoyed the opening sequence as well. I thought that the end scene was amazing. At the start, I really liked it. I think it was more throughout till about the first third, that point where I was like, where is this go? Like I need things to move a little faster. I felt like, and
I almost think you got to reflect on that, Sherlyn. Like you need it to move a little faster, almost like we need to take time in our own lives and reflect on our own existence. Because this is a movie that is about existence. It is about what is the impact of this robot, and also what is the value of my own life.
Yes, sure. But also that wasn't my only issue with it, right? Again, these are all personal preferences. So like take what I say with like your own tastes and mine.
Yeah, your personal gripes here. Yeah.
Yeah. I also, and again, very stylistically shot film. I also agree with you that the world he's built here is beautiful. There was like maybe one scene that was shot in the outdoors for the first third again, and that was like in the droid's memory.
There are
like,
a bunch of outdoor scenes, but okay.
Most of them are indoors.
There's a walk through there's a walk through a garden. I remember you saying that
in the android's memory. Yeah, like
I remember you saying that like there wasn't much outdoor stuff.
I felt for the first third very claustrophobic. I was like, why are we constantly in? Just like again, a small thing. And then the other thing is, I'm also very allergic to like directors or cinematographers who are very deliberate with awkward positioning and angles and framing. Not that he does that all that much here, but almost every scene in the car has a very like off angle framing, and then like there's quite a lot of scenes that are like that. And I was just like, when I start to feel like the person behind the camera is interfering too much with the scene. This is like my J school doctrine. Yeah, thanks a lot, Julio.
We gotta camp this a little more, Julio. Like just
if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you'll see our video team screwing with me a little bit.
But this is kind of, it is interesting. Like that didn't bother me at all. And also I have a feeling that maybe, you haven't, I don't think you've encountered as many directors as me that try to be so like stylized.
Oh, there are a lot of them.
Yeah,
I hate all of them.
This movie is very subdued. Like it's not doing much.
There could be
maybe
more. It could be worse.
I think
I do want to point out like the reason I am so like irritated by it. It's more about like my background, my training, as opposed to like anything really wrong with that. I think it's fine that you're like trying to take risks, but because I went to school for like
Yeah, you're
broadcast journalism,
indoctrinated.
yeah, they're like, no, do not interfere with the story, aka do not interfere with the camera, and do not interfere, like let the story speak for itself. It's kind of the mantra I grew up or was trained in. So anytime I see like for example, if like there's a vehicle that's like driving across a scene, for example, right? If the camera pans away before the vehicle clears the frame, I also get annoyed, because it's like one of the things we were taught is you have to let any moving subjects clear the scene before you move your camera. It's
there are a lot of artists who say
thing.
like schools are the antithesis, like our
damn, you just picking apart everything I say now.
Yeah. But no, I hear you. I know you also had trouble with like
yes.
the way Chinese language was presented
yes.
in this movie, and
yeah,
you know, I get it. I get it.
Right, I get that Kogonado, right? Kogonado is Japanese, and
he's Japanese.
I don't
American,
know if Japanese American, and so like I can't expect him to fully know, right, what is authentic Chinese
I think
or authentic Chinese pronunciation.
The android is played the android Yang is played by Justin H. Min, who I believe is also a Chinese American actor too. So I almost wonder, like, so there are scenes where he is training the young girl in language, right, and how to speak, and I believe you were saying like his actual pronunciation wasn't great, but also that, let me tell you, from a lot of like Chinese Americans I know, the pet peeve they have is for native speakers to be like, you're saying that wrong, you know, like you're doing that wrong because
let's not we're conflating two issues here. One, I won't go around correcting Chinese American people on their pronunciation. Why? Because I know they didn't grow up with the right environment. I tease our coworker Sam Rutherford because he did spend some time in Taiwan learning Chinese, but came back with a pretty heavy accent. But I get it; it's hard to shake, especially if you're not immersed in it. But in this situation, Yang is supposed to be an android that teaches the kid who was adopted from a place of Chinese origin about her culture, her history. The issue I had was more that her pronunciation was better than his. I was like, how did she learn from him the better pronunciation? This is inaccurate. I'm sorry, I spit a little bit.
You're like frothing at the mouth right now.
Because I will say there was one scene where like he said something like, he points at a rainbow and says the Chinese words for rainbow, which is Tai Hong, and he said, oh, Mei Mei, which is little sister, and it's how he addresses her in the film. He goes, Mei Mei, look, Sai Hong, instead of Tai Hong. And I know it's a small gripe, but it's a big difference in Chinese. And she goes, oh, Tai Hong. And she like actually pronounces it differently and better than he does. And I, again, get that for Chinese American people, it is very like it's a pet peeve for them, or a peeve, like it is like an almost a thing you don't want them being pointed out by, like,
we don't want Sherlyn to hear us speak natives. Basically
no, but here it is an issue with cinema, and I encourage you to watch this video from this channel on YouTube called Accented Cinema, where like the title of the video is When Hollywood Speaks Chinese I Cringe. It's a really widespread problem. And it also takes you away from the film and the moments in the film. This video, like I said, the title is When Hollywood Speaks Chinese I Cringe. The channel is Accented Cinema. I don't have time to explain in detail why this is a problem, but that video does a pretty good job. I don't agree with every single point they raise, but the gist of it is there. Anyhow,
I saw that video was pulling Wayne's World 2, which is a nearly that's a 30-year-old reference at this point. So.
There's a lot of recent references. Reminiscence does a very bad job randomly having.
It's a very bad movie, but so basically, I think we fundamentally disagree with After Yang. I will say this is a movie people are going to be talking about for the rest of the year. Like, this is a movie that could be winning major awards at Sundance. I think it has a lot of Oscar potential. It's a movie I cannot wait to rewatch as well, just because it is one of those great things. So if you like. It is very much like Spike Jonze's Her, you know, which is a vision of the future that's kind of small and contemplative. It's not like big explosions or anything, but it's a world that is presented a little differently with technology we don't have, and with a style all its own. So, like, I think the clothes too in Her, nobody wore jeans. There was no like
Mhm.
modern clothing. It was all like weird future khakis and pastels and like a weird vibe. The vibe of this movie is really interesting, I'd say. So
I agree.
yeah.
I think stylistically, visually, even the themes and the stories are interesting. It's just again the collection of these little peeves of mine made it like for me a difficult thing to watch. That's all. Like, yeah,
Well,
that's
let's
it. Like,
can we move on to the movie that I think really got you in your
yes.
feelings? Because I
Oh
know
my
you
gosh.
loved it.
No, I'm gonna come off as a big hater this episode. The other film I checked out so far, I've still got more to check out, of course. Is a documentary called TikTok Boom. I've already written a piece about this. It's being edited right now. It should be up soon on Engadget.com. And in short, I don't know. What do you think of a documentary as supposed to be, Devindra? Is it supposed to be like basically well researched and factual?
It can be a lot of things. It can be real research and factual. It can be like a personal, intimate story. It could just be like taking one element of a thing and trying to like dig deeper into subculture. With that, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to explain everything. So there are a couple of ways you could do it. You know.
Well, part of my issue again,
Mhm.
small gripes here and there that like that don't take away from like the bigger thing.
Mhm.
The small
And I
gripes
should
are
say,
that like
this movie is directed by Shalini Kantaya.
shitty
Yeah, and I believe she was known. She did a documentary several
for
years ago
coded
too.
bias,
Yeah,
coded
that was
bias, and it's on
really
Netflix.
well received. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, I think I might be in the minority here for like pointing out these things, but I do think that like there were some spelling errors throughout the film. I was just like, how do you spell censored? How do you spell censorship? It starts with a C, not an S to
Okay.
begin with, but okay.
Okay.
Then there's Douyin, which is the app that preceded TikTok and still exists in China.
Mhm.
The film shows you some experts and some creators on Douyin talking about Douyin and correctly pronouncing it, correctly spelling it, and even correctly spells it on screen most of the time. And then immediately after that, in the 2 frames after that, there's a couple of graphics where they spell Douyin wrong. And it's not someone else's graphic that's wrong. It's the documentary's graphic that spells it with DUO instead of DOU, which these are little things. Like I said, again, they're just careless editing. Someone didn't proofread. I don't know.
Yeah.
My bigger issue with the documentary is just that like it covers a lot, and some people might like that if you haven't had time to like sit down and read all
Yeah.
the news about TikTok. You will
Most people have
enjoy
not
this.
been fully immersed in TikTok culture right now. So it seems
Right.
like there is a need to explain TikTok to people. You know?
I'm conceding that. I agree with
Mhm.
you on that. The film just jumps and tries to cover a lot, and TikTok's been involved in a lot of things, a lot of
Mhm.
different debacles, a lot of different you know, creator entrepreneurship is one of the themes, like suicide and mental health issues are another
Mhm.
one of the themes, and just like there's so many things to cover, but this film does try to cover every single one of them in 90 minutes, and that's a difficult job for anyone. I feel like it would have just been a bit better if TikTok Boom were a little bit more focused.
Mhm.
That's my main takeaway. It also makes some pretty dangerous claims about how TikTok is
Mhm.
like scanning your face for data that feeds into its For You algorithm. There's no evidence that TikTok does that. So I don't know. I'm still kind of digging through some of this. I know that in the privacy
Mhm.
policy, TikTok does mention it collects face prints, but
Yep.
probably look if you're scrolling
There's a
your
lot.
phone.
There's a lot that
Yeah,
it is
there's a
certainly
lot.
capable for it to be
Yes.
doing this thing.
There's a lot of stupid
Mhm.
shit in its privacy policy, but
Yeah.
it's also if you're scrolling your phone and an app is scanning your face, most modern OSs show you when an app is tapping your camera. You would see the indicator
Usually.
appear. Unless the OS is malfunctioning, the app has found a workaround. This is why I'm saying like I'm digging into it a
Mhm.
little bit more. But like,
Yeah.
I feel
And
like that's a
context for
pretty
this
baseless claim.
too, I do want to say how much of you're not a TikTok fan, Sherlyn. You're not up
I
there.
don't
You're not with the
use
kids who are
shit.
watching TikTok every day.
Congrats on
And
being a kid, Dev.
I mean, I have a kid, and TikTok is actually a perfect like little thing for young kids who just want to see like little loops of things over and over again, especially things around animals and silly little videos. TikTok, it definitely has problems, and certainly
Yeah.
we don't know the extent to which ByteDance is collecting data from people, and there's a lot we don't know. As a successor to Vine for that like short video format, I think it is really well done though, and the remixing, all the like
Yes,
features
there's a
of
lot of
it
great
is really
features. Yeah.
well done. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, there's a reason why Instagram's trying to copy it. There's a reason
Yeah.
why Facebook, everyone's trying to copy it, and it's doing so well. But then, as with every company that gets huge, then of course it becomes very dangerous. But anyway, not to say that TikTok boom is completely without merit. It's like it's very competently shot. There's some very interesting and fascinating stories about creators on the platform, and China's involvement and censorship and Trump and like, you know what I mean? Like the list goes on about what is covered, which is my point. But if you don't mind and you've never been really up to date and up to speed on what happened with TikTok, this could be a good one for you. I don't have official release information on this one yet, but I'm sure it'll be coming out somewhere more widely available eventually this year.
Gotcha. There was news around face tracking for TikTok. It's just it may not
It's
be
the
essentially
face
what they're
print
saying.
collection in their privacy policy. I spoke with Carissa Bell before I wrote my piece, and Carissa Bell is our social media reporter. And she was like, yeah, it's very vague. TikTok's never been very explicit about what they're collecting the face print and voice prints for. But they do say it's for use for it's face print and voice prints generated in user content. And the privacy policy defines its user content as things that are created when you're uploading stuff, or
right. So
when
they
you're
have this search
pre-uploading
feature
something.
where you can highlight somebody's face in a video and
Right,
then
and look for
search
them.
their face in there.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's taking the camera and like
Exactly.
getting your
So
stuff
that
unless you upload something. Then they have your
exactly.
base data. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's part of what the face print, I believe, is being collected for. But it's a different thing to jump from that to saying that while you're watching passively, that it's also scanning your face. And look, I get that the algorithm is creepy and very accurate, and it feels as if they're watching you. We went through this whole thing when we said Instagram was listening in our conversations to serve us ads that are ridiculously uncanny. But we just it's dangerous to basically. My thing is, if this documentary had said that and actually showed me evidence, I would believe them. But they just did a computer simulation, don't really show their like source and research to back that up. If they did, I'd have less of a problem with it. It's just responsible research and filmmaking, I think, in the documentary world. That's to me. But anyway, you can watch it for yourself. Just be aware that not everything is true.
We're really getting a sense of how Sherlyn rates things now, and
yeah,
it's exhausting to be near Sherlyn as she's watching movies, as I can attest from Avengers Endgame. Just
I don't know. Was that exhausting?
It was like you gripping my arm for every single time another superhero showed up. It's a superhero movie, Sherlyn.
Isn't that fun?
It's Avengers.
I know.
Yeah.
I think everyone's different, and everyone has different ways of consuming content.
I would love to know what you think of We Met in Virtual Reality, because I think it does actually cover a lot of things that you'd be interested too. This is a documentary by Joe Hunting, and this guy is known for basically making documentaries about virtual reality and about VR chat in particular, which is this like cool social VR community. Think of like Second Life, but in VR, so you can make whatever avatars you want, go on adventures, hang out with your friends. And this movie kind of starts out that way. It shows like how a group of people really started hanging out together hardcore during the pandemic, but they were friends in VR even before that. And then it goes into like couples, like people formed relationships with each other. I won't spoil where it goes, but like relationships go pretty far via VR chat. And it is a really interesting exploration of how like, I remember, and you can read this in my review over at Engadget, but I've been on the internet since like 1994 or so. So I remember like the early forms of connection, at least even in that era. I wasn't there for BBSs and like the really, really early stuff in the 80s.
I love BBS, yeah.
But I remember AOL chats. I remember like random CGI chats.
Microsoft Comic Chat.
Sure, whatever. There were chats for every little subculture. I made a lot of like online friends in the during middle school and high school, times when I should have been socializing with real people, but a lot of my friends were online people. So I had this group of people. There are people that I still talk to this day that I've met in chat rooms, people that I met in real life for the first time just a couple of years ago after I met them in the 90s. So the idea of online community is nothing new, but I think what this movie shows is that it is virtual reality really takes it to another level where you could like sit down, have like a recreated virtual drink with somebody. You could go to
Mm-hmm.
like an amusement park and go on some rides together because people can build these experiences in VR chat.
Yeah.
You could go to a virtual exotic dancing club and have somebody give you a VR lap dance, which is a thing that exists. But
We've seen that before, yeah.
seeing how hard people go in this tech is really cool because people are like, okay, I like VR, so now I need full body tracking. You know, I need VR sensors on my legs,
Mm-hmm.
on my hands. So not just for lap dances, but also for things like dancing lessons and stuff too. There's like what do you call it, belly dancing. There's a belly dancing course that actually is recreated pretty well in VR because this person invested in the sensors. There's somebody teaching sign language in VR because they have like
Nice.
really articulated finger tracking.
Mm.
So and then people come to this class like every week to learn sign language. They're learning it in VR, but they can actually, you know, show it really well too. So I found this really compelling. um the reason I like talking more about the Sundance movies is because like you guys will be able to see these things eventually. I don't know what the distribution for Remet and virtual reality is yet, but it's going to be something you'll probably be able to see this year. So I'm sure like Netflix or a streamer will be into this. I really
Mm.
dig it. And stay tuned for my interview with Joe Hunting after this episode because we go deep on like how he made it and everything. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, I'll check it out. I
Mhm.
just somehow assumed that this was one of the new Frontier pieces that I needed to be strapped in to watch, but it's just a straight film. So
Yeah, it's a movie. Mhm.
that is pretty cool. We also have other movies on our list. I don't think we
Mhm.
had. I don't know. Have you watched Duel yet? That
I
one
did
got a
watch
lot of
Duel. I watched
chatter.
Duel
Did you like it?
last night, and we could talk a little bit about that. That is the movie of Karen Gillan fighting her
Mm-hmm.
clone to the death, or ostensibly fighting her clone to the death, and I thought it was fine. It's a really
Okay.
good concept that is hampered with really clunky dialogue. Like
Hmm.
the writer and director Riley Stern is one of those people that writes like people speak like this in flat affectation
Yes.
and
Yeah. I don't
oh,
like
I
that.
guess I will
Yeah.
have to go on this duel for my life. Oh, that is hilarious. It's very robotic, it's very like flat, and if it was some people to really like reflect their character, that's one thing. If it's
Mm-hmm.
everybody for kind of no reason, that's another thing. I have issues with the way it ends,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just it is I think it tries hard to surprise people, but it's actually pretty predictable in terms of like
Yeah.
where that goes. So you could tell it's a low budget, like it is a semi sci-fi movie because it's about a
Mm-hmm.
world where when you die, you can buy a clone that your family can live with instead of you, so they don't have to feel the pain of loss that much.
Yeah.
Um, cool concept. I wish it was executed a little better. You could tell it's like pretty low budget too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other film that involved robots in this year's slate of Sundance 2022 films is Brian and Charles. I haven't actually seen it yet, so we are gonna
Mhm.
have to come back to this one next week if it was, good or
There,
bad.
there, there is more stuff to talk about. I'm looking
There's
forward to
so much
seeing.
stuff.
There's Neptune Frost, which is apparently this like cyberpunk African film too. So I
Mm.
really want to dive into that. There's just been so much to watch. So keep an eye out. We'll have Sundance stuff coming up until next week. And I had stuff I was going to talk about here that are not tech related, but you know what? Go
Hmm.
listen to me on the Filmcast because I kind of mentioned all these things here. So go to thefilmcast.com on my normal movie podcast, and you'll hear me talk about all those things. Yeah, I think we could probably just go along with the tech news, Sherlyn, if you want.
Okay, so Ben,
You
was there
don't
a
want to
clean
be a
cut?
hater for when you finish
It's
saving the
fine. It's
world?
not important. And also, I
Okay.
realize we're just going along on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Mhm.
was there a decent point for you to stop there?
I think we
Ben?
should, yeah, I think we should get another thing to wrap it up. But before
Okay.
we get the wrap up thing, do you know? I have a feeling Neptune Frost might be based on the name of a Black Revolutionary War soldier.
It could
Um,
be.
just outside of Harvard Square, there's a old gravestone, or there's a old graveyard in one of the really old churches and there's a plaque just outside that says, like among the unknown buried were the bodies of Cato Stedman and Neptune Frost, who were
Likely. It is likely
free
related to that. Yeah.
free Black Revolutionary War soldiers. I
Mhm.
remember both of their names perfectly because what amazing
What a great
names.
name. What a great name. Do
Neptune
you want me to
Frost, what the
record
hell?
a
No, I
like
got it.
break? Okay.
I'll just
Go
say
ahead.
like check out our coverage, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyhow, that was kind of just a brief chat of all the things we saw at Sundance 2022. If you want all the details, make sure to check out our coverage on Engadget.com.
Okay, let's go to Samsung.
All right. I'll take this one, Dev, and then you can take the Spotify.
I'll do Neil Young, yeah.
Neil Young? Yeah, okay. All right, so this week wasn't just about Sundance. I mean, the tech world had to go on. Tech news started coming out. Like, for example, Samsung shared the official date for the next Unpacked event. This is the first Unpacked of 2022, and it'll happen on February 9th at 10 a.m. Eastern. As per usual, Engadget is going to have like our live stream, pre-show and post-show with question and answer sessions. So if you're, interested in whatever Samsung is going to be announcing, you can come hang out with us while we watch Samsung do its thing. What are we expecting? We're expecting the next generation of Galaxy S devices, and if I can count correctly, it should be the Galaxy S22.
Samsung will have new phones? Incredible.
Yes, shocker.
Oh my
I
God.
will say kudos to Samsung. The timing this year actually seems perfect. Like last year, Unpacked was right up against CES. I had no time to rest. This
really
time
bad.
around, I feel like, yeah. This time around, I'm like, okay, all right. The first week of February works. We're good. Thank you. Before it announced the actual date, to Samsung's president TM Rowe also published a blog post talking about what the next S series will look like. There was a lot of hyperbole as usual. There's a lot of like the most epic phone or whatever, that kind of talk. But there was also sort of hints, right, at what the next S20 or what the S22 should be like. And they use the word noteworthy a lot. And TM Rowe also directly addressed people who were like, oh, we know some of you were surprised we didn't release a Note last year. There's a lot of Note fans that are upset that there were no new Notes last year. So are we going to see a new Note? I don't think so. But what I think is going to happen is the S22 is going to take on even more Note-like features.
I mean, they're getting bigger and bigger. All they need to do is like plug in the stylus at this point too, or
yeah, because they already support S Pen on the S21 Ultra. But that was like a standalone pen. I don't know what we'll see this year, or I can't say. And it wouldn't be a surprise if the S Pen continues to be a feature, I think, in the S22, along with some other updates and size, right? Some of the leaks we've saw so far and the renders look like the design is very similar to a Note. Does this mean, though, that the S22 will fully replace the Note? Is the Note line completely gone? Would you miss it, Devendra?
I don't. I personally don't care, but I also know it has a lot of fans. It doesn't matter though, because their phones have gotten bigger and bigger, right? There was really no differentiation between the Note line and the typical S line, especially when like S Ultra started happening. So they just combine the lines. Just do it. Throw the Note people a bone. Throw in stylus support. I do wonder if like somebody can create a phone that gives you like good handwriting feel with any point object. So like a pen without the sharp point or something, or like something like just something, so you could just use anything to like jot notes down your phone,
like Lenovo's Active Pen, right? Lenovo did that before. Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting to see. Maybe that's the next step that Samsung should take. I will say that it sounds like maybe someone over at Samsung has been reading Engadget articles about how it's making too many damn phones, and they're like,
too many damn phones. I also do think like there's a lot of room for companies to like explore like, hey, just people still want to write stuff in notebooks with actual normal utensils. So I one of my favorite things on Evernote is being able to just like say boom, take a photo of that screen. It becomes like an Evernote sheet, and occasionally it'll even be editable, but at the very least it is a digital thing that is saved, and if I lose the notebook, it's saved. If somebody like can really unify that experience in a phone, that could be really, really cool too. Because I know people love taking handwritten notes,
Oh, we're getting close, right? All the different pieces of the technology are there. We've got Google Lens is really good at doing like that identifying of words and converting it to digital text. You can copy and paste from a picture directly now into your laptop. And then Samsung's Notes app is also worth a shout because they're doing really good indexing of your handwritten notes. So it'll actually index all of the things you write that it identifies or recognizes as words. And then when you search for your handwritten notes, you can pull them up by the words you've like written.
That's cool.
Like scrawled down. So I think that's pretty smart. And yeah, we're a few steps away from putting them all together into one comprehensive thing.
I just want to write again with like a pen or pencil too. Like I've noticed my handwriting has just gotten worse because I'm on a keyboard all day or I'm on a touchscreen all day, and like just writing something is not something I have as much time for. There is that e-ink tablet that people really like that I kind of want to. Remarkable. Yeah, Remarkable too. I'm really interested in that stuff at this point. So yeah.
I this is a longer conversation to have we had another time, but like, do kids even write anymore?
Handwriting in the digital age should be an episode, and we need to get like a really good like pen nerd in on that.
Yeah. Oh, Alex, maybe, I don't know. But no, there was other stuff that happened in tech this week. Devindra, tell us all about it.
Sure. I mean, people were abuzz when the singer, the famed musician Neil Young, basically gave Spotify an ultimatum, saying that it's Joe Rogan or me. Joe Rogan is out there spewing COVID-19 like vaccine misinformation, and in general, not really helping society. And Neil Young basically, I think after a recent episode, was like, "This is it. This is my last stand." So he said Spotify has to choose from either Young's catalog or Joe Rogan. Spotify, of course, spent a lot of money on Joe Rogan. So yesterday, after we started mulling around this news, Spotify confirmed it will be removing Neil Young's music because of that, because of that ultimatum. And this isn't a surprise. Like, if you think of like clout and popularity and relevance right now, like, yeah, everybody, millions of people listen to Joe Rogan every day. Neil Young is a great singer, like a very big deal, but he is important to fewer and fewer people, right? He is of a generation. And I love him. I've always loved his music. I love the fact that he's had an activist streak. He's been speaking up against racism forever too. Like he is like everything I'd want in like a popular musician who's using their platform for good. He's also married to Daryl Hannah, which I just learned a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, this dude's
I didn't know that either.
This dude's a king. Like, yeah, like he is the best right now. But yeah, basically, Spotify has removed his music because he took this stand. But it also makes me wonder, like, sure, I would not expect Spotify to give up on Joe Rogan because of Neil Young, but what are other artists doing? Should a company like Spotify be even kowtowing to like what their artists are demanding?
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there are some speech issues there, but also what other way can you make a huge company like Spotify like actually think about the social good? It's by protesting a bit like this. Like, this is the only way you can change it, because you can't appeal to their good nature. Spotify will do whatever gets Spotify more subscribers, and more relevance within the world right now. So if that means paying a ton and like basically holding your nose as Joe Rogan says what he says, they'll be totally fine with it. So I have noticed a lot of people saying, yeah, I'm just canceling Spotify right now, which is making me think, like, I think over the past decade, or at least since Spotify has been available in the US, it seemed like, yeah, I want all that music available to me. I'll pay that monthly fee. But there's Apple Music now, there's Tidal, there's Amazon Music. There are other things that don't have as good like playlist recommendations and stuff like that, but Apple Music has really good 360-degree audio. Like, their Dolby Atmos stuff is really interesting if you have compatible headphones. Like, they also have high resolution audio. Like, there are other people doing more. Maybe they'll have like less music intelligence and less like social abilities. Like, I don't think there's playlist sharing and stuff, but you don't actually lose that much by giving up on Spotify now too. So I see a lot of people doing that. I'm considering that because I
am thinking about it too. Spotify is just becoming like, one of the good things about Spotify was that like of all the devices that you were signed into, you could choose where you output your.
That is the best part. It's just like Spotify Connect, boom, go there, go there, go there. Yeah.
But it's recently been just really screwy for me. Like, their best feature is been very buggy for me. So it's like less and less reason to stick around with Spotify. Also, a lot of personal issues with it. But moving on, by the way, from Spotify, I don't know if you were done with Spotify, by the way.
No, I'm good. I'm just saying, if you don't know who Neil Young is, go listen to Harvest, because that is one of the best goddamn albums ever made. So, you know, check it
Nice.
out. Neil Young is a king, and he will be a king forever. And I'm glad, like, this is where he's using his clout and putting his reputation on the line, and I am all for
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
I also quickly wanted to shout out the anti-work subreddit fiasco that happened this week. A little bit of background. I am an avid Reddit reader. I never officially joined the anti-work subreddit, but I've always sort of just followed, and it's always recommended to me, their posts, and I'm always just kind of like reading and lurking, but I didn't officially join. So anyhow, the anti-work subreddit is sort of just a place for people who
are
want
tired.
to learn more or want to
They're
share
tired.
about
We're
being we're all so burned out and everything,
Yeah.
especially with the pandemic making work hours insanely long. I think the anti-work movement, and by anti-work I think this is the name of the sub, more on the update to that in a little bit, but it's not about completely not wanting to work. It's about like wanting to find some balance, and it's about it also came up after, I think it gained more traction after a lot of reporting in maybe 2020 about how more and more people were choosing to not work, more and more people were choosing to quit their jobs for something a little more sustainable for their lives and being a lot easier. Our producer Ben is pointing out that it's also about wanting humane treatment from their employers, which is very fair to ask for. And a lot of the posts that I had seen on that sub from before today and before yesterday were just about like really bad examples of bosses demanding that people show up at their whim and do whatever the hell they want for like little to no money, or not even any minimum wage at some point. So I didn't subscribe to the movement, but I like agree with a lot of what they were saying, right? So anyway, what happened this week? And I'm sorry to laugh a little bit because this is it's sad that this happened. But what happened was one of the moderators of the Chan went on Fox and gave an interview to Jesse Waters, and basically, if you take what the sentiment on Reddit right now is basically they killed the entire sub in a matter of like seconds. The interview is easy enough for you to look. You Google anti-work Fox News and you will see that video anywhere. And it's Doreen is the name of the moderator, and they don't do a very good job of representing what anti-work is about. And I'll admit, like, I won't even do a good job of representing what anti-work is all about because there's so many facets to it.
Also, you work way too much too. Like you're
I'm definitely not anti-work. You know what I mean?
We gotta like
really
get Sherlyn to slow down. Like I was excited when you brought this up. It's like, oh, Sherlyn gonna take a break and relax.
I read anti-work, yeah. And some people might pronounce the anti-work. I pronounce the anti-work. But anyway, so Doreen goes on, and Jesse basically lets them talk themselves into a pit, right? Like Jesse, the reporter, is like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And and Doreen, the moderator, goes, I walk dogs for a living. And they're like, oh, how many hours do you want? Like they were asking about like how many hours do people of the movement want to work per week? And like, you know, Doreen said something like, okay, we want like reasonable working hours. And then so Jesse's like, so how many hours do you work? And Doreen's like, all right, I work like 20, 25 hours a week, which works out about 4 to 5 hours a day. Yeah. Right. So it turns out that Doreen is like a dog walker, and that's reasonable for a dog walker. It's just that like it just comes off poorly, I think. But it became a whole debacle. Basically, anti-work was starting to share that, hey, we were on Fox News, and then people read it, and people just like had, over the last few days, all the reactions just got worse and worse. Setting aside some of the unnecessary discrimination against trans people that's happening because Doreen happens to be a trans person, what happened here that was really adding fuel to an already raging dumpster fire was that the mods of especially Doreen, I believe, refused to kind of like admit that they should have been better prepared, or like they could have handled that interview a little better. And a lot of the criticism on this now is about how Doreen appeared on the interview, which I was like, y'all can stop making comments about their appearance.
There aren't any good faith arguments here coming from the Fox side, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of like actual criticism against Dorian themselves. Like I'm like, yeah, you did your
I
best
think
on an interview.
yeah, maybe especially for movements like this, like maybe watch out like where you go because not
Yeah.
everywhere is going to be friendly to you, and a lot of people want to destroy you. And I think
Right.
that
Well, yeah.
you see that.
Part of my gripe with this issue, and I promise I'll wrap this up really soon, is that like, so what happened was anti-work then got it went on offline. It just like it just like got taken private, and I think the mods are sorting out what's happened because like a lot of redditors were calling for the mods to like apologize or will or like never ever take an interview again and etc. And I think the mods just weren't really admitting any wrongdoing on their part, which is what led to eventually, I think, a lot of angry redditors posting more and more. And so when they finally took it offline, now people are joining a new subreddit called Work Reform. And Work Reform, a lot of people are also commenting it's a better name, etc. But in the midst of all of this drama, the rest of Reddit was also brought in. And I think this is where I have my gripe, which is that, like, okay, look, I first started seeing it on anti-work, yes, but then it started popping out on our popular and our subreddit drama and our cringe and our sad cringe and like all the things that I actually follow, which is funny. But what struck me was when I finally saw it on our LPT, which is live pro tips. And the live pro tips, it's all subtweets basically. Like everyone that's been talking about anti-works drama has been subtweeting the issue by going into other popular subs and saying, don't go on an interview if you're not going to comb your hair.
Well,
I was like, no,
it's Fox
that's not a
News,
tip.
people.
Yeah.
It is
Also
Fox
be
News. Like,
careful.
be
Yeah.
careful of where you go. I want to say, like, how much is this at all related to like the lay flat movement too? Like, just people just kind of giving up in a sense, or is it mainly humane work, or is it like just people saying like, I'm done. I'm physically and emotionally done with all this stuff.
It's not. I haven't seen any mention of lay flat in anti-work, and maybe I haven't been paying attention to
it because it does seem like a symptom of it, of like an overwork culture just burning people out completely to the point where.
Really quickly before we move on to another point, I just want to point out that the live pro tips post was like. I'm sorry. One point I have to defend people in the media here because it's my job you're talking about. And they go like, media always wants to like exploit you. Like it more or less like says that the media is always here to make you look bad. And I'm like, no, that's a really unfair representation of media. I think you have to, when you say media, don't label us all.
That is what a lot of people think. Like
it's not.
It's not fair.
Awful people.
It's not fair. But man, it is a shame where bad reporters, where people have an experience with bad reporters. Like that's happened even to me and people I know who sat for an interview with like Business Week. By the point the article about them comes out, the quotes are wrong. They were misconstruing what they're saying, and you have very little power to like kind of change that too. So I understand the frustration.
Not all of us.
Yeah. Please. Not all of us, but people have experiences and it sucks. Like, there are bad journalists.
I almost go out of my way to make sure like I get what my source is saying, interpret it correctly. Like, please, not all media, but be careful which media outlets you pick. That's what I think the LPT should have been. Anyway, back to what you're saying about lay flat. You're talking about the idea that laying flat, just giving up, right? Like,
I don't want to get anymore, and I don't want to like get up anymore, and that basically was a big thing. It started like in China, right? Because people were tired of working 60 to 80 hours a week with barely any breaks, and it is kind of heartbreaking, like how much the pressure of work on a culture can really just break people, I guess. So
exactly,
it's all kind of related. We'll probably
be
talking
related
about some of this, and we'll all try to work a little less. I don't know. A little
yes,
less hard.
I think so. I think at least Engadget treats its employees well. I mean, y'all are always telling me to take a break. It's just me trying to kill myself. But anyhow, that's something that happened this week. Overnight, the r/work reform has gained hundreds of thousands of subscribers now. And it's only gaining momentum. And if you're interested in this at all, there's plenty of coverage out there on it. So do check it out. All right.
Okay, do you want to do a little Q&A?
Yeah,
like a little bit of Q&A, a little bit of a break. And then we'll do a listener mailbag. People have been sending us emails. You should send us an email. If you want to send us an email at podcast@engadget.com. Again, that's podcast@engadget.com. But let's talk about comments from the chat.
Yeah.
Specifically, something I got wrong. I will fall on my sword. I said something about how leaks might be used as background on for Engadget. I was out of line. I was not. I don't mean to speak for Engadget. Why don't we let Engadget's deputy editor explain what is going on with that?
It's more like on background is a journalism term that marketing people
and that's
sometimes
true.
abuse.
I was using it in a different way. So
Right. I think that's
let's
the
talk about
only
that.
thing I wanted to clarify is that like on background implies that we have seen the info and we are not allowed to quote where it's from or attribute it to someone. Very often that's how on background should be used journalistically. So for example,
Very
I
rarely.
have
It should be used very rarely, but yeah.
Very rarely. We try not to use it because like where possible we want to let our audience know where we're getting our information from. But for some reason sometimes our sources are protective of their identity or again abused by companies all too often. But in some cases when like I take a call with a source that doesn't want to have their name or even quotes be written down, they're just like, I'll tell you this on background. So for example, shady company is doing shady business and I'll tell you, just look at their taxes, blah 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 or whatever. That stuff is on background. I can use it to inform my article, but I can't use it like word for word or verbatim. And I actually do have to do a lot of work to corroborate if it's true. So leaks in general, we don't almost never report leaks as fact because leaks aren't fact. Leaks are just like, oh, this could happen, but they're not like, the fact is only here when Google tells
basically
you.
what I meant. Like you see the
and I
leak,
agree
and
with
you're like,
Nate.
okay, yeah, that's like something that could happen. Like let's just keep that like in our minds as a possible feature for this new device. But yes, on background is a totally different thing when you're using it in the journalistic context.
So that was all I wanted to clarify. Quickly shouting out to dude named Charlie, Omar Carranza, Daniel Diaz. I hope you're still all here. Drew Karmokar is back, hey, and Kushal Shingote. Please let us know how to pronounce your name correctly. Raj Kumar is also here, so just want to say hi. Thanks for joining the stream.
So what else are we talking about? So actually, dude named Charlie had a really interesting comment that said, "Legit question: are people really overworked, or has the work environment always been the same? But now, because of the internet, people are able to share and see other people's experiences."
Yes,
I think it's both.
Yeah,
I think it's absolutely both. I also spend a lot of time on Reddit. I watched anti-work come up, and it was a lot of people who are the frontline workers. That is the term. There were a lot of frontline workers who were saying, if you appreciate me so much, I'm a phlebotomist, someone who draws blood. I've been drawing way more blood than I have before. If you really appreciate me, as a grocery store worker, don't clap for me. Pay me more.
Yeah.
Demand that your grocery store pay me more. And it's an amazing thing that the internet is getting to the heart of things.
Yeah.
It allows people to get to the heart of things much more easily, I think.
It was a response to the performative like activism, I guess, of like, oh man, these food workers are heroes. Sure, people, but now it really didn't take long before people started spitting on grocery workers and just like really treating workers badly for trying to do basic things like say, hey, please wear a mask so we don't catch the virus. So there is a lot of there's a lot of stuff happening.
So to answer my answer to dude named Charlie's question, and also I have another list of shout outs to make after this, is that I think what happens, and this has been happening in the last few years, to your point about the advent of the internet, leaving people the opportunity to be like connected all the time. It's been like harder and harder to learn when to disconnect. I think especially with smartphones and like apps and then work apps and work phones being on you all the time. I think at least 4 or 5 years ago, the reporting around it was more like, oh, apparently your bosses now expect you to be reachable all the time because you have the means to be contacted. It's not like you can say, Slack, oh, I wasn't right. Or like I wasn't near a landline as like, 10 or 20 years ago. there was a more clear demarcation of like when work ended. But now it's worse. And then in the pandemic, it got even worse because why? Everyone was working from home. There's
or a lot
you're
of
not
people
supposed
were,
to be
not
out.
everybody,
Right.
but
Right. Sorry, my bad. Frontline essential workers, people who had to be out there. But like if you were working from home, then there was also this idea that like you're supposed to be at home, so you're supposed to be like
you're supposed
near
to be
a
working.
computer.
You should
The
be.
You're not supposed to
assumption
be
is that you
out.
don't have anything better to do.
It's
or you
basically.
shouldn't be work. You know, you shouldn't
Yeah.
be out infecting people or getting infected. So you should be home, right? Like you know,
it's basic things
that's
too. Like we should raise the minimum wage. If you've never
yes.
worked for the minimum wage, if you've never, what is it now, 750, 725? Like my first
Depending on
job,
the
Yeah,
when
that's
I
the
was
federal minimum wage.
when I was in
and
high
that's
school, it was $7 an hour when I was 16. That was like 1999
Ooh,
or
that
2000, and
is
nothing
not
has
commensurate
changed.
with inflation.
Nothing
Ooh,
has
boy.
changed. Yeah. I think that's all people are asking for.
So when I said I had a quick list of shout outs, I didn't scroll down in the chat yet. I wanted to say hi to Armando Fernandez. D-Man is here. Hello, one of our regulars. Remington Howell. Brian Mitchell is a familiar name as well. Again, Jonathan Anderson. Buddy 305 Love said you're late. Don't worry, you're not. We're still here. CF 542 MD or Mohammed, I think. Zishan. Hi to everyone that's here and interacting with our chat and our community. But yeah, no, a lot of people are very into anti-work or at least work reform now.
That's good. People should think
also,
more
yes,
about
I'm
the
on
state of the world we're in. Yeah.
Instead of TikTok, I'm on R cringe and R sad cringe. I'm also
I'm like,
on R TikTok cringe.
You were very
TikTok
anti-TikTok
cringe.
for a while, and you forget how toxic Reddit could be.
Oh yeah, no, Reddit's been improving a little bit, but also can be very toxic. It's all down to like moderators.
The worst. I mean, Gamergate and all this stuff started on Reddit too. So
that's
I kind of like
it's
Reddit is like within arm's reach for me, but I cannot with that community. It's just I can only take so much of them.
It got better over time, right? Where like Reddit had to have a reckoning after I think Gamergate or even a little bit after that, where then they were like, oh crap, we need to make sure all these subs are not doing shit things and we need better moderator, etc. A lot of Reddits a lot of threads or subs that I follow, they all have these like really clear rules. Reddit is a huge thing. I don't know. It's a better place now.
I got one more thing to say about anti-work. And it's about the technology creep into offices over the last several decades. Let's say in the late 90s, when phones, like cell phones, were starting to be more widespread, if you were one of the maybe 3 or 4 people in the office who was considered important enough to have a phone, like that was a big deal. Like you were,
it was a status symbol.
Yes, it was a status symbol. The fact that you were available all the time or needed to be available all the time was a status symbol. And I think that has just kind of stretched out. And so like, oh, you're, one of the few people who got a desktop computer. That's a status symbol. Okay, now everyone has all of that stuff. It is just part of the like bedrock of modern society. Let's not consider that to be a status symbol. Let's not consider being needing to be on call all the time so much of a status symbol. Now we gotta go in the other direction and say like, get the heck out of here.
Too much.
There are some laws internationally that have been passed that say your boss cannot email you after a certain time. I don't think that the US is anywhere close to passing something like that, but boy, would I like to see it.
We don't philosophically the US just thinks we should all work until we die.
Oh
basically.
man.
Great.
No, one of the things I learned from being an anti-work lurker is like the different mandated leave vacation days per country and how like 18 countries mandate 18-ish days of vacation a year. That's what anti-work's about, or work reform is about. Anyway.
So I think let's get into the listener mailbag. Cher, do you want to do the first one and then maybe I'll do the second one?
Sure. Let me just pull up the actual email. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So now we thought we'd take a little moment to thank the people who've been sending in some nice and kind feedback and questions to our email, which is podcast@engadget.com. This week we got one from Enrique from Salvador, Brazil, who told us that they liked the show, that the last episode was one of their favorites. The one about the James Webb Telescope and the Microsoft Activision story. So, hey, Enrique, we really, really appreciate the time you took to write such nice words. We're doing our best, and
Thank
always,
you.
yeah, dude, it was so nice. I especially appreciated that Enrique was like, "Oh, I love that Sherlyn and Dev are skeptical at heart because, yeah, we need to cut through the marketing bullshit." I'm paraphrasing. So yeah, it's good to know. I mean, I live for validation like this. I don't know about the Ninja. So you
I mean,
made my
I'm glad
week,
to know somebody has at least listened to the episode and processed like individual
right?
segments. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if people are actually listening.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. This is like
Mm.
Enrique is not someone I know in real life. You know what I mean? Like this a person listen to our podcast. That's not my friend. That's awesome. So anyway, thank you. We appreciate it. There's more too. Ben, did you want to tell us about some of the other listener mail?
Yes. So a while ago,
Mm.
on the August 13th episode of the show, we had Michael, Mr. Mobile Fisher, on to
Mhm.
talk about Samsung's new foldables, the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 3. And he said something about how he can't walk down the street using these foldables in New York City
Right. Right.
without someone stopping him and saying like, hey, like, what's that? Like, that looks
Yeah.
Right.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And so we were wondering, are the Samsung foldables something that only appears in, maybe a few cities around the world, maybe like New York and San Francisco in the
Mhm.
US? And someone came into our YouTube chat and said, actually, you're not going to believe this, but I work in a uh, post office in Alaska. So this is Kyle from Alaska. First started commenting on the YouTube chat and then sent us an email about how many people in Alaska have these big foldable phones. And it's for a couple of reasons. The first is oil field workers. Oil
Mhm.
field workers make a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
and they seem to like having the newest tech. And who gets the oil field workers their tech? Kyle from Alaska. And also, similar to or connected to the oil field issue, every Alaska resident gets a payment for the use of the land in the state. Dev, do
Mm-hmm.
you know anything about this?
I mean, I've heard a little bit about it, but it's I mean, it's just a small. It's what, $1,000. It's not
Yeah,
very big, but it's a thing people can rely on. You know.
yeah. So Kyle says that every year Alaska residents get $1,000 payment coming from oil money, and so everyone gets an opportunity for at least one big tech purchase. It's not earmarked for tech, but that's
Mm-hmm.
frequently what people end up spending it on. And so when Kyle originally sent this email, he said in the small post office, he's seen some Pixel 4s come through, some Samsung S21s come through, tons of people get earbuds, a Galaxy Watch. So it's not just
Mm-hmm. But
the
those
big
aren't
cities.
foldables. Those aren't
No,
foldables.
no,
Those are normal devices.
those aren't foldables, but he said that he's seen some
Mm-hmm.
Z Fold 3s come through as well,
Mhm.
I
Mm-hmm.
believe.
Nice.
And so I caught up with Kyle just before taping this episode, asked for an update on what's happening in Alaska. The tech news coming from Alaska is that there is a there is literally one Tesla repair vehicle for the
Uh-huh.
entire state.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes they'll have to drive 300 miles just to get people a spare tire. And this summer, apparently, there is a big electric vehicle charging corridor coming in to connect two of the major cities in the state. So you will soon be able to drive all of your EVs in the most northern state in America. So thank you for emailing us about that and keeping us updated on the Great White North, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for all your mail. I promise you we read them, and whenever we get a chance, we love to thank you guys on the show as well. So keep them coming.
Let's do one more plug for the email address. So just like,
Okay.
if you want to send us an email.
Okay, yeah. I ended on keep them coming, so I'm gonna just go be like,
yes.
Write us at podcast@engadget.com.
Okay, great.
All right. So it's just Dev, do you want to kick off working on, and then we can move on?
Sure thing. Okay. Let's move on to what we've been working on. And, we're still in the middle of Sundance. We'll probably have some pieces coming out next week as well, because this is a big show. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to write about. But, stay tuned for all that. I'm also going to be getting HP Spectre X360 16-inch laptop in soon. And we like the Spectre line. I like convertibles, and this is going to be a big boy convertible. So I'm really interested in seeing like how this thing goes and how it performs. Sherlyn, what are you working on?
It's pretty obvious, right? With Samsung having announced Unpacked is coming up, there's a little bit of Unpacked prep that I am working on. I'm also doing Sundance with you, Dev. And then there's one thing I've been testing lately that I want to keep a surprise because I don't want other people to know yet, because I don't want other outlets to get a jump. But you will know by next week what I am talking about. And I think y'all are going to like this one. So stay tuned to Engadget.com,
For sure. And we're not doing any pop culture picks this week because, hey, we just talked a lot about Sundance. But I do want to remind you all, we have an interview with Joe Hunting, the director of We Met in Virtual Reality. That'll be at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that.
And just hit the outro, whoever's going to do the outro.
I'll do it since you've been doing the episode.
Yep.
And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own managing editor, Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Ellman. You can find Sherlyn online at...
Hey, if you share similar movie tastes with me and hate all the things that I do, you can tell me on Twitter. I'm at Sherlyn Lowe.
Yeah, I can't wait till your new podcast, Sherlyn Nitpick Pod. Just all the nits. You gotta pick them.
Yes.
You can find me online at Devindra on Twitter. I also talk about movies and TV at the Filmcast at thefilmcast.com. We just reviewed Station 11, the entire series, and it's fantastic. So go check that out. And email us at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review on iTunes and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts, including Spotify. Spotify for now.
For now.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good ender. Cool. So I think we can talk for just a little bit more, if you like.
Record an intro to the interview separately, Ben, but you have the audio for that already.
So not to make you plug your other show on this live stream, but I'm kind of wondering, like, you've done the Filmcast for a while. I'm
Since
curious.
2008. So we are going on. Yeah.
So, but that's also the very beginning of the golden age of TV. So I'm wondering if the Filmcast eventually started to cover, like, top-notch TV.
We were doing TV from the beginning too. It was just the name.
Right.
The name. It used to be the Watchers podcast. Like we had like 30 episodes of that, and that was just, hey, we watch a lot of stuff, And the Filmcast was because we were part of Slash Film. So and they cover TV there too. So we just didn't take the title too seriously.
Okay, I was wondering if you ever like made a decision to be like, okay, TV is as good as movies now, so now we're gonna
we knew immediately. That. Like my co-host and I, like we were geeking out about like high quality, like from The Sopranos, from 24, so like long before like peak TV started really around 2001, or at least like when The Sopranos launched on HBO, and like network TV got really good with 24 and Alias and everything. So we've been following this for a while. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I tend to think of peak TV really starting like maybe with Mad Men and Breaking
It's a,
Bad, but
it's a
that
progression.
is
Oh man, there's so much that
well, no,
led
but
to that. Yeah.
that just shows
Yeah.
like when I started paying attention to, like high art cultural things.
Yeah. There has been a lot of like cool things. Like if you look back to like big TV events, like Columbo was a big thing that kept going, the Rockford Files, and then Twin Peaks
Yes.
really
Yeah,
changed the
yeah, yeah,
landscape
yeah.
of like the drama you could have on TV. And then the X-Files came out, and I was raised pretty much on the X-Files and all the like weird 90s shows, but the 90s were when TV started being a little weird and interesting. Batman the Animated Series was a primetime show for a while. It started there. So yeah, we all grew up watching TV kind of change before our eyes. Yeah. And now it's just all streaming. So much streaming.
Yeah. Okay, so can anyone verify this? Buddy305 Love in the chat says that New York was close to passing a law. This is talking about anti-work and people being able to contact you after work hours. They say that New York was close to passing a law when BlackBerry was big. If your office contacts you after work, they had to pay you overtime. I would like to verify this.
Oh,
I
man.
want to go and verify this. I don't know
Yeah,
if we
I
can
don't
do it
remember
on the
this.
stream, but I think we might come back to this in the next episode, at least like
Oh, yeah. I see a story from like
the next episode.
2010, 2009. NPR reported on something like using your BlackBerry after hours could be overtime. That was Chicago. A police sergeant was suing the city for that. So it was a thing. We've talked about it. Yeah, the society has talked about this.
Daniel Diaz is also saying, I work for a technology company, and even though the performance of employees has increased dramatically working from home, they insist on going back full time to the office. I think that is a deeply personal choice. It depends on your just like personal, preference, whether or not you like to go to a certain place to do a job, and also probably whether you have kids. It's way easier to get things done if you don't have kids running around and like asking you for stuff all the time.
There's a lot of, I think, the hybrid approach, which was basically what a lot of us were doing at Engadget. Like I basically chose my workplaces in New York based on the freedom to work from home when I needed to, but be able to go into an office. Yeah. I've turned down jobs at other places because they're like, you got to be here at 8 a.m. every single day. I'm like, buddy, that does not help me write news better for you, So yeah.
I'm hearing we have a question from our own video team. Julio, do you want to shout something out?
No.
Don't lie.
No, I'm kidding. I do. Yo, Dev, I got a question. Thoughts on the Blizzard new survival game?
I didn't see much on it. Which one?
Say that again.
Which one? Which Blizzard survival game?
The one that they just released information on.
You got to give me more clues.
Do you have a title?
Yeah. What's it called?
There's a title yet.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, Julio, I thought that this was like a long road to a D's nuts or something.
I see. Okay. Blizzard is working on a brand new survival game that could define its next era, according to TechCrunch, and we've written about this too. I mean, sure, they can't ship games. When they ship this game, I'll get excited for it. How long have we been waiting for Overwatch 2? Feels like 5 years at this point. So please ship some games and then I'll get excited. This will be cool though. This could be a cool thing, especially now that if the Microsoft deal goes through.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I'm all for more new stuff.
It seems like people are pretty into this anti-work / work balance, work-life balance.
You're just like taking the scales off their eyes. Like, whoa, you mean I could live in a world where I don't have to do this?
I wanted to circle back to what you said about choosing your jobs based on like flexibility of being in the office, which
I learned pretty early on. That was important. Yeah.
Yes.
After college, I spent like 4 or 5 years working an IT help desk job, which was good. I was actually able to like go around and do stuff, but there was a lot of like desk time, and I learned like I started to feel like claustrophobic in that office space. Whereas what I wanted to do was write about tech and do other stuff, and having the freedom to do that anywhere was really I had that experience when I was a freelancer. When I moved to New York, I was like, I'm going to go to Prospect Park and just, write this afternoon in Prospect Park because I can. And that was
being chained to a desk is like a pretty shit situation for most people. I that's one thing I hated, and one thing I loved about my job is that I was running around all the time in the past, and now it just sucks. Like having to sit in front of my laptop and not having the freedom to move around a lot is awful.
That was it.
But
like even working from home for me used to be, okay, I'm at home in the morning. I'm going to go to a coffee shop. I'm going to go, to the park, and it's going to be work, but I'm going to be working from those places. Somebody brought up 4-day. How about 4-day work weeks, buddy? 305 left. Yes, please. Weeks. Yeah. Yes, please. Totally doable.
I like to be able to take walks during the day.
Yeah.
And that's something that
pretty much
is like less okay if you're working in an office. And also when you go to offices, the design around the office is usually less interesting. If you're talking about like Midtown Manhattan, or you're talking about office parks or something, you could leave your desk and like go on a walk, but it is not as interesting as being in any kind of residential area.
I heard that so I think in some European country, I'm not sure if it was Sweden, but they're looking at actual 4-day work weeks.
UK.
That's what the UK also, I think, Julio was pointing out. And then also another piece of
Iceland. Iceland has had a trial of the 4-day work week, and it was really
Scandinavian
successful.
area is pretty good about their work-life balance policies. Declan Flynn says, how about a job that offers so-called unlimited vacation? It sounds good, but in reality,
that's a trap.
It is. Yeah, we've seen this covered a lot also in recent years, where I like
it's
our
something
system.
You see in tech a lot.
Yes, we see it in a lot of tech companies where, like the Vindra said, is a trap for like people feel guilty. And I know of people who work at companies that offer unlimited vacation, they end up taking a lot less time. But
you take less time because you feel guilty, and also other people are taking less time too. So it's a cycle of saying, "Oh, I'm going to keep working because,"
and it saves them money because then it's not an expensing item. I think, like an accounting item. Sorry, I think I'm not entirely sure. I like our policy. I like just not to like suck our own straw. Anyway, not to toot our own horns.
There you go.
That's way better.
Way better.
Thank you. But excuse me, got too excited for a minute. But I think Engadget does a good job of treating us pretty fairly, even if it's not our parent company doing a lot of the good stuff. I've said this publicly before. I personally feel like our managers treat us well. I think we've always had like a pretty flexible work from home policy, right, Devendra? And even in the pandemic, not having to worry about when I'm supposed to go back to the office has been like the greatest luxury.
But it was like even before the pandemic, like being able to go to the office, like to do the podcast, right? To see you guys, to have meetings and stuff. That was always
right,
great.
Exactly.
But like, I also understand this is a fully privileged position. I would love if people had the freedom to kind of pick and choose. When I was doing IT, one year I was like, I'm going to reduce my hours. I can reduce my hours and still like make rent and everything, but have time to write about tech, which is what I really wanted to do. So I reduced my hours to like 35 hours a week, and then worked basically extra hours for 4 days a week. So I kind of like spread it out. So I just moved that time around. That freedom is possible. I think we just employers need to push to allow people to do things like that, because it makes your workers happier, makes them more productive. That is the 4-day work week thing, is that people are finding people are just as productive, and actually sometimes more, because they feel like they have to focus and get some stuff done if they actually want to have that other day off. So
the other thing is one person, and I can't remember offhand who, that someone pointed out in the chat, is that like often actually we're not saying that being in the office is not a good thing at all. In fact, being in an office can sometimes be good for productivity.
Great for meetings,
right. It's great for meetings. I know that I like sometimes just need a dedicated space to like drown out office noise, and then that's how I get my like creative juices flowing sometimes. But it's just the fact that it's mandated, the fact that you think your employees need to be at a certain place to be doing the work you want them to do. That's where I don't agree. Like,
it's archaic.
And my dad, Yeah, and it's a very like other countries in the world, parts of Asia too, are very resistant to the idea of working from home. Like I know people have asked me, some employers in Singapore have asked me like, so how do you know if your employee is working if you let them work from
My
home?
parents
I'm
have
like,
no clue, like have no way to conceive of the way I work, so it's a lot
yeah,
of new things.
I'm just like, bitch, just trust them. Give them a deadline and they'll submit the work.
I think we're starting a whole new podcast here, Sherlyn. I think we can't be part of the anti-work fun times.
But I mean, it's totally true. Like the last 2 years have shown that we have been able to get things done over the internet. We have been able to do a whole podcast. Most of this podcast has been done from home now.
Doing the live stream, we used to do a live stream in person, and it was a pain because it was
we didn't even
TV
we never
studio.
did a live stream. You mean
we did.
Previous iterations.
It was a TV studio. Like it was a studio, and you have to go in.
That was
it's camera
such a
work,
production.
We've got Julio managing our video feeds, and he is doing the work of like many people right now. But it is more doable than being in a studio. Oh man.
Okay, I think we're done. We've been talking for a while, so thank you to the chat as
always. Thank you, everybody.
So this stream comes to you via our video team, it's mostly Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. Thank you to them. But it's powered by everyone in the chat. If you stuck around this long, rate the show on iTunes. If you watch the live stream, download the podcast. You might not need to listen to it because it's just the same stuff. Although
and
it would be
you
cool
use
if you listen to it.
Yeah, listen to it. Use a podcatcher. I think Spotify. Again, I'm gonna have to reassess my relationship with Spotify, but also in a podcatcher, you just put it there and set to auto download, and like that is a trigger. Like that lets us know, like, oh, if somebody's seen that episode. If you add it to your Spotify thing, we probably don't get a count until you hit the stream. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and all of this feeds into the fact that the Engadget podcast listener and viewer should know that we live in a world of algorithms. It means more than you think. So leave us a rating on iTunes, download the show. We've seen great audience growth in the last year or so, and we want to keep that going. This is so much fun to do. So thanks to everybody in the chat, and we will see you next week.
Thank y'all.
Later. Thank you.